Start recording. And let me stop streaming. Okay, yeah, we're good.
All right, sweet. Cheers, bro. So basically, BTC, I think we've been talking about it, right? So at the minute, what I was trying to look at was we had that 4 week range breakout, right?
Mm,
I think if I just compress all the TPOs, 27. Yeah, you see, like we've formed a value outside of the breakout, right?
mm,
Above that value area high. Basically, right now we ended up like S&Ping, then went down for mean reversion, right? So like honestly, as long as like these lows hold, we should just end up going back up to the MPOC here at like 106, and then from here it's like range into the initial bounce, flip it, and then start ranging some more, and then go higher.
mm.
Take out this liquidity there, and then I want to see this like just slow
Are
grind,
you able
and
to
then continue
stream? Are you
higher.
able to share your screen?
Oh shit! Okay, I'm retarded. 1 sec.
I
There
was
you go.
like,
Whoa, 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 whoa.
watch stream. Okay, yeah, yeah, good to go.
Yeah, that's that whole 4 week range that we broke out, right?
Yep.
And it's that thing where like I think we always like talk about it's like whenever you break out like a long term range, you don't really fade the breakout, right? So
Yeah.
here you form like a pretty clean bound outside of the old downs, pretty good initial as well, and then yeah, you ended up like making a new high, and now you've mean reverted into the whole breakout range. So you held that. Honestly, as long as like we don't break this low, right? I think this should just keep grinding higher, fill this region here,
Mm-hmm.
and then give a retest back down to like 104.6, and then slow grind back up to MPOC here. And then I'd expect that like it doesn't like show weakness here, it just stagnates at the MPOC, and then you get like another explosion back up.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is pretty clean like continuation play.
I think in this context
But
right here, any low is good enough. And so, following what you said about the intermediate term range breakout, I'd want to see an extension following that breakout that kind of resembles the length of time, or rather like the distance traveled from the breakout that's resemblant of the time we spent in the range. And right now we haven't really moved much higher and expanded value higher from that breakout. And so any low is good enough in that so long as we consolidate above that lower range and above that negative point of control, I think you're good to play anything range higher.
yeah, yeah. I think peer wise, right? It's like go back onto if this reaccess back into weekly value area low here, it's going to be an easy protected low setup where you just get and then from there you just continue building higher. I think honestly, before I take any longs, I want to see this high get taken out first, get that continuation, because then if this ends up forming like a little range here value area low, it's going to probably end up being range bound for a couple of days. But I mean, we got news soon anyway, so I don't think it's gonna be range bound for that long. So we'll just watch out.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, clean longs. If we go back up to the VWAP here, retest some of that, so some of these highs here, and then just continue growing higher. And yeah, keep it simple. I think if the news is terrible, right? Because it's basically just I guess it's just an FOMC, right? Like uh, okay, yeah, it's a Fed interest rate, FOMC. Da, da, da. I think like let's say we get like some sort of like scam work, right? I think the line in the sand was that overlapping previous weekly value area high and the 4 week value area high here, which is like a retest of like that full breakout area. I think it's like you can probably see that like this double here. But I mean, if it goes into that level here and it ends up holding this region, right, like above 99K, like this is going to be like a generational entry for higher. But I mean, again, it's like that's completely news dependent, and honestly, as long as low holds, like you said, anything that holds is higher.
Hmm.
I think I don't know, but BTC is kind of boring though, so
I
there's not
agree.
much to say on that. I think ETH is way more interesting though, because like you've got. I think I was talking about this with you yesterday. You've got like your higher time frame breakout, right? So you've got you broke above the high here, about like 3.6K, right?
Hmm.
And then this is just all liquidity, right? So if this can hold above, or like let's say it ends up like holding, I think 3.7. I'll show you on a low time frame, but if this holds at 3.7 area, I'm thinking it just ends up pumping straight up to the highs because there's literally nothing, there's nothing here. I think on the daily as well you can see it. Yeah, there's literally nothing here on the daily to stop it. It's just slow grind down. Um,
I think.
but again, like with the whole, oh,
Oh, sorry, but I was just saying, like, I think ETH as a catch-up play. I don't have any data to back that opinion, but it hasn't rallied to all-time highs yet. Bitcoin significantly outperformed, and I think there could be a rotation into ETH. So if we build value in this area that you've marked out above previous swing high and inside of the prior high, everything's good for higher, defining risk against that low in the wicks.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I think anchored view up wise as well. I think anchored view up from here. I mean, I don't expect it to go that far low and
Hmm.
break and take that low, but I'm guessing that order block's pretty nice there. But yeah, I mean, I think volume profile wise, or like TPO wise, it was a lot cleaner. Let me just pull that up. So you're not going to trade FOMC then? You're just going to leave it as well?
Honestly, I have a short on right now. Um, my risk is above this prior like Pico high right here because we deviated above today's value area and oh shit, hold on. Deviated above today's value area and oh you can see my screen. Yeah, right in here. Came above, boom, back in the range. If we can fill out this area here, that'd be better. But this is what I'm looking at here, range. You know. But if we come in and start to consolidate above here, buy everything that comes back into here. And that's good for higher. Clean this up a little bit less volume in there relative to down here. So it's just like bounce to bounce. Imbalance through here, lighter, except back into this zone, and we're good for trend continuation higher, I think. But I mean, I'm okay. Like FOMC, I don't want to punt anything based off like, hey, I don't want to have any trade thesis is structured around an FOMC idea. Like, oh,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
rates are going to do this, TradFi markets might do this, correlation to SPX, and there's a lot of options flow on the put side. Like, no, I'm not looking at any of that shit. It's just like, this is where I'm defining risk on
yeah,
this short term trade, playing the range. And if FOMC volatility happens to push it to the low volume node pivot right there, I'll just take some off. Because the thing is like, 1 o'clock rolls around, the speech gets released, all the algos flick off. I don't want to eat volatility to the upside, and so I'd rather just continue to scale out of this as it comes lower, even though the thesis is a reversion back down to the at least point of control and value area low. But
yeah. I
bias
think
is higher on higher term.
I think today, right, the key thing today though is that if we get next daily open above the current daily value area high, or like we flipped it to current daily value area high, I think that's going to be like the trigger for continuation higher.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, at the minute, I don't know. At the minute, for me, it's just it's range bound at a value area low. So yeah,
Mhm.
whatever. But if we flip 104.9 and we show strength into that imbalance, sorry, into the initial bounds here, and then we end up revisiting this kind of double distribution setup here, pretty good setup for a long. But yeah, until then, like you said, like, I'm not doing anything here.
Mhm. Yeah, not
Um,
too much. Not too
I
much to
think
be interested in.
I
But
think
yeah.
ETH is pretty interesting though because like you've got like your 5 day composite, right?
Mhm.
Wait, let me open this up again.
Yeah, that range looks way cleaner.
Yeah, 4, 5. Yeah, you got your 5 day composite here, right? And yesterday on that pump here, we ended up rejecting the kind of like not like a high volume area, but like this little mound of volume here. We ended up like rejecting that, and then now we've got like a full range reversal back down, right?
Mhm.
So like if we start forming, I think if we get like a value area high close below the value area low of that range, I guess this is just going to be continuation. for a flush lower down, and I'd probably look for like a we've already kind of taken out like that kind of triple high volume node setup here. We've already taken out the first one, so I'm guessing go for the middle one here, right?
Mm,
So that'll be a nice retest of like previous weekly val, so 37 100, and then from there we end up going back higher. I think you've got room as well for 36 60, but I think this gets front run. I think that volume, the amount of volume distributed here probably takes precedence over here, I guess. As well, it's also like overlapping val. But yeah, I mean, with this, if you get along at 3700s, I'd probably end up like going back to all time high from there. Let me just pull out a range profile. I think it's here. Yeah, so, yeah, you've got like your value area low for the range here, and again, like if you do end up losing that low here, you've got like this whole set here to long from.
mm.
So yeah, anywhere between 3660 and 3740, and then you go higher. But yeah,
Yeah, I think best
I
setup
don't
here
want
is
to.
just a deviation between or deviation below that current low right there
Yeah,
against because there is kind of a low volume node separating those distributions. And so I think anything below your green line right there is grounds for acceptance into that lower distribution.
yeah. I think something I do want to do though is like, and I think we were talking about this yesterday as well. Like, the Bitcoin dominance, it's like it's spiking higher, right? I want to see Bitcoin dominance end up going back up to about like 59.6, or at the very least retesting the high there. So then that kind of gives us room as well to flush more in ETH beta. So
Mhm.
I do want to end up looking more at ETH beta as well, because ROI wise, I mean, ETH can go up like what, like 2x from here, but you've got coins like OP which have so much more room to expand. I think OP, it's like with OP, ideally, I kind of want to see it go back into that daily order blocker and then pump up higher. Or like worst case scenario, if ETH does flush, I mean, if it ends up taking out these lows here and goes back down to like 1.9, that's kind of great as well. But I'll go over those in a bit though.
Mhm. Update on the Bitcoin trade. I'm gonna take a third of it off here. Let me see if I can throw my flow chart up. Give me 1 second. There we go. Can we see that? No, we can't. Whatever. Basically, that low volume node right now is what we're coming into. Large relative delta, red delta, with the FOMC coming up. I just want to instead of waiting for a reaction and then making a decision at these levels, I'm just gonna take exposure off at each level we come into because I'd rather be out of this trade sooner than later, even if we might shit out lower.
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
Yeah, that's that for that. I don't mean to take you off track.
No, I get you. I think the hardest thing though at the minute is like trade management because like the range is so big at the minute. So
Mhm.
it's
Yes.
that.
Yeah, and they like everything comes.
That was
There's a lot of things that are just coming back. Moves are getting retraced, and so UPNL gets evaporated in a matter of 30 seconds, and you've been waiting for a move to bleed down for 15 minutes.
just looking at the footprint. I mean, yeah, I mean, this whole thing here, like the weekly value area deviation head back into it is like bearish divergence the whole time. So yeah,
Mhm.
the short should be fine. What level did you say it was? Because I'd look for the imbalance here at 104 flat, and then below that, I'd look for like
That
probably a
was right there.
sweep of
That move
that
right there,
below here.
happened at the value area low. I have a composite for all my session profiles for the current
Mhm.
CME, to London to yesterday's Asia, Asia last night. Excuse me, or today's Asia, but. Value area low is at 103.6. Value area high is at 104.9. I'm also seeing that zone of imbalances. And that right where you're drawing the imbalance zone is where the current daily point of control is, volume point of control. So any any reaction down there, any absorption or initiative
Yeah,
buying is gonna be
it's the
next.
same. It's the same kind of thing we were seeing yesterday. I think. Let me just play out
This is
Tuesday.
exactly what
Yeah.
happened yesterday.
You got like your zone here. Price ends up like holding it for a little bit, and then I think it was like about here. It kind of held it for a second, and then dumped straight through it,
Hmm.
and then revisited daily VWAP. I think like, yeah, there's initiative sellers here. That was clean retest.
I like that concept a lot.
Um,
Is like being really precise with like, yes, this was a breakdown. Where did it actually happen? Where was the change in sentiment, change in this environment and structure? That right there was initiative selling, high relative delta print, high volume, and that's where the break in structure happened as well. Super clean retest on your chart.
yeah. Bro, this could have been a good long, but I mean, again, like I don't scalp too much. I'm more like, for me, I'll look for areas like this, right, and ride the short down
Hmm.
value area. But I mean, like, something something that I'm never gonna really get a hang of is like switching between trades up to, like 5-10 minutes, like
Yeah,
after 2-3 minutes. That's something I hate doing.
that was more my style when I traded ES. Like on average, I would take 8 to 12 trades a day. Good days would be slightly less trades. But I'm curious about your trade management. So, like, what's your philosophy around taking profits? Profit taking representative of flipping exposure, expressing a thesis of like, I'm gonna take profit here because I want to take on some negative. Like, how do you go about that? Take 75% off when you first take profits. You take it off when you want to move risk down. Like, how do you think about that?
Um, okay, so if there's large ranges, right? It's like let's say, okay, let me get my view up again. I've got a good philosophy with the view up. So let's say we get like a huge view up range, right?
Mhm.
So like let's say we get a heavily traded VWAP bracket here and like an empty VWAP bracket here, right? If
Mhm.
we break below the VWAP, if it's a negative VWAP, right, I always take profit aggressively, right? Because like these tend to, with whole auction market theory thing, these value area and VWAP levels get they hold, right? They get respected very well, right?
Mhm.
But then when you have a huge auction range like that, I don't really fade. I don't really like if we break below here, I'm not going to fade it because you've got an empty bracket. So it's like, why would you take profit in this region when you've got like literally no sort of liquidity to sweep or anything like that? So
Mhm.
you see, like as soon as we break below, VWAP hangs around for a little bit, but then once it accepts below, it's just literally straight
Yep.
downforce, right? But then on the move back up here, for example, because you've traded so much in this higher area, right? You don't exactly just, as soon as you flip that high, you don't just like it's very hard for like price like traverse out of here.
Mhm.
So like for this region here, I'd take profit quite aggressively, right? But I mean, again, I don't have like a statistical like basis on it, but for me,
Uh-oh. Cut out. You still there?
say for example here yesterday, I was like this look here into the view app, it deviated, but it didn't really deviate with significant volume, right?
Mhm.
So like this should get swept. And I was like, the sweep region should go down into like the imbalance here, right? Since that was like the imbalance formed before we pumped into the daily view up range, right?
Yeah.
So then on the reversal back under, I kind of saw like how here you saw like quite a lot of like quite a lot of like shorts being trapped and whatnot, and then you had like the retest of this. Like as soon as like price started forming like a bullish divergence here, right? For me, I just TP'd 75%, and then I was like, if it ends up, going back above to like this imbalance here, I'm gonna end up like closing the rest off here because my entry was up there. But then again, like it didn't like get there, and it went back into the it got back into like the original TP1 POI, right? But then here again, it formed more bullish divergence, right? So I was like, yeah, like I should have closed the rest off here, but I was kind of sloppy, right? I wasn't looking at the chart. But yeah, for me, it's usually just based off like if there's I've got certain regions where I'm like price is likely to bounce from here, even though my TP is like down here, right?
Mhm.
And then if it's like if price is like showing the reversal signs that I'm gonna get the fuck out. Because like I mean 2-3 R, 1.5 R is better than just
Yeah, giving it
round
back.
tripping it.
I like that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to summarize it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you approach risk as a dynamic process that develops as new information comes in the market. And so as structure changes, as flow comes in, as volume delta trades, that risk changes as that information might change the environment.
Basically, yeah, yeah.
I
I
like the
think
vision.
there's an example here. I don't think I traded this long setup, but like I remember talking about. I took the short setup, right? The short setup was the exact same thing I was telling you about, where I took a short. I think it was from about around about here, and then I played the view up traversal, right? But
Hmm.
then you see how like here, for example, you've got like your overlapping monthly and weekly, right? Uh, Basically, you've got your imbalance here. And you see how like typically, because this is like your value area high, right? Of your weekly, and it overlaps with your monthly.
Right.
You'd expect that like price would, stagnate, or like it'll end up like, going back down into the VWAP and then like, chopping around here, forming small balance and then going up, right? But then like if I'm looking at the flow and like I'm just seeing absolutely no like, downforce here, right? And price is just pumping out. I'm obviously not gonna TP here. I'm just gonna extend it out and take out the poor highs there. So like again, it's very dynamic. Like
Yeah,
you
level to
change it
level.
according to, yeah, level to level, yeah. That's also like how you get high R in my opinion. It's like people always ask me like, oh, how do you get like 5R in a trade, right? Usually it's like you have your modest goals, right? So like let's say you're playing your um I think this one was pretty classic. It was like you've got your I think this is a Sunday open, yeah, it was something like this. Yeah, it was something like this, right? Where basically you've gone back down into your value area low here, right? And you've got like your weekly profile below, like the weekly VF profile, right? So you've held this overlapping weekly val and range val, right? Price comes back up. Your next POI would be like a mean reversion, right? So the
Yep.
mean reversion would be into this cluster here. And then basically, if price doesn't flip this level, it's going to end up dumping pretty hard, right?
Yeah.
And then as you saw, right, price ended up, mean reverting and then dumping into like the value area, so the value area high, and then you're like cascade down, right?
Yeah.
But on the cascade down, this here is like your main magnet, and it's like if price doesn't hold here, you're gonna go back up to like your again. You can extend the range here.
Reaccepting the range field auction lower. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and then you get like an even nicer short up here at the value area high, and then you put your stop there, and then from there you end up like looking at like your. So again, here you didn't tap your weekly VF, right? So this is still in play, and then you also have like your I think previous monthly ranges. Oh, sorry, the current monthly range as well, which was like overlapping. So like let's say that's your monthly range there, and then from there it's like if price can hold this region, then like you're gonna end up going back up. If price dumps from the region, like it did and it retests and it doesn't break through, then like you'll look like your next range, right? Because I always treat price, even though markets are trending and range bound, right? All that means is like price price spends most of its time forming a range, right? Um, from balance, and then when you're trending, all it means is like you're moving from balance to balance, right?
Yeah. Just
Except like when
seeking
you're in
new
prices
area
together,
peak
right?
value.
Yeah, yeah. So when price lost that overlapping monthly level, right? Then form of balance was like I think it was this is a pretty nasty range here. Yeah, the next setup was like this level here, which is like your mean reversion into the old range that you broke out of, which
Hmm.
is pretty clean, right? It's like I like trading it like this rather than scalping because like there's a lot less that a lot more. It's easy for you to process information, and it's easy for you to build a narrative because
Yeah.
there's fewer variables. Like if you're looking at like I don't know the 5 minute, right? There's like a million different PYs that you can look at. Like you've got poor highs there, you've got like equal highs there and whatnot.
Hmm.
It's I don't know. For me, this is just easier. It's a lot easier and there's a lot less risk involved.
Yeah.
The way I see it.
Honestly, I agree with you. This way of approaching is very clean and kind of grouping together context of price. You have it on 15-minute right now. So if you threw it on like 30-minute bars, that to me is representative of the TPO columns. And it's like, okay, you zoom out and you can apply all the same concepts and principles of
Hmm.
acceptance inside of balance areas, price seeking fair value, where are we trying to do the most business, how much return is the auction producing versus effort, things like that, like all the basic principles. Um, but like I think one thing I really picked up from you and other guys I've seen is the fixed range volume profile and being able to really dissect different segments of price action with those volume profiles. Like that's a really cool way of doing things.
I think back in September, I think the server was too active back then, but I was posting on Twitter. There was like quite a lot of like good range bound behavior, right? Back when you're in this range. I mean, you had this was super textbook. Like I ended up like having to, I ended up getting like a lot of case studies from it as well.
Yeah,
It was like,
September, November, or like early November was one of my best months or one of my best periods P&L wise.
yeah, bro, I'm not surprised. This was literally like this was godly.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, current PA is good as well, but I mean, like this here was like this was
It's
just textbook.
clean, man. Yeah.
Like, let me get
It lets you
this.
be patient in the range. And it's like I think being able to accept that like you're not gonna catch the bottom, but being able to take a break from balance and like an acceptance outside of fair value higher, that setup in and of itself, the R on that setup is like I had to get around to that. It's like, oh, I'm not gonna catch the bottom, but this setup in and of itself might consistently produce more than trying to sit there and take the bottom. But
It's
that's so clean.
it's
Like that's
very
bread and
hard.
butter.
It's Yeah, it's very hard to catch bottoms, right? Because like again, I was talking about this yesterday as well. Like, fucking hell, like it's like I missed the bottom long here, right? Because I was short from I think it was yeah I was short from here, right? About 60K or like 57K, I can't remember. But I was short from either here or and then I was looking for like a retest low of this low here, right?
Mm,
I ended up taking partials at like I think 54K, and then when price kind of started to come a higher low, that I got out, right? But like again, like I missed the bottom entry and whatnot. But then like again, like in red, you got your monthly value, right? You accept into the overlapping monthly quarterly here, right? After rejecting the value low of the range here, right? Like this range from here to like let me just yeah this range, right? And then again like price ends up finding stability at the VWAP, acceptance of range, and from there you look like your traversal up to 61K, right? But then again, like you don't get it, you get deviation here of your VWAP, you get a higher low there, sorry, a lower high there. Price comes back down into like your VWAP, doesn't find stability there, it goes back into your value area low here, and then it's just it's just ping pong. Like it's literally just Tetris. And for me, that's the easiest way of visualizing the market. Like there's no secret algorithm. It's just people buying and selling, and it's kind of harmonic in that way.
yep.
But yeah,
We got FOMC in 5 minutes. Press conference starts at 1:30, I believe, like usual. But the market will
uh,
pick up after like the at 1 o'clock, or for me 1 o'clock, and then the few minutes following it, then it'll range bound, and then as soon as that presser starts, steps up to the podium. Good afternoon, blue tie. We're gonna fucking send.
yeah. Luckily, that I'm not like again like I don't know. For me, I'd rather just look at like what altcoins are doing at the minute.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. If you want to get in altcoins.
yeah, I'm just looking at Solana at the minute. Solana looks absolutely like cooked here. Like honestly, like it just looks
Yeah.
cooked here. Uh, I think let me just look at my quarterly values. So like you've reaccepted into your quarterly bands, right? So like let's say that's your quarterly range, quarterly band area high, and then you've got your quarterly V upper. I mean, a clean sub here is like a VWAP is like an SFP into the VWAP level here into this kind of like a little accumulation area here. I think the PY was around about like 190-ish, like 190-ish. Well, let me pull out the TPO again. I don't really want to miss on altcoins because, like, again, like cycle wise, it's around about this time of the year where you want to get into your altcoins for the next phase higher. Yeah, it was like you've got like a line in the sand at the minute at like 215, 214-ish, right? And if the price ends up losing here, you're gonna end up going back down to like MPOC here at like 187. But then again, like you got the caveat of like you've got like a bunch of high volume nodes here at like 190, 192. So like you could get front run here. But like the idea is like I think it looks a lot cleaner here. You've got your acceptance into your quarterly, right? And you've got your monthly band here as well. So it kind of lines up pretty well. Like you've accepted into your quarterly somewhere here, your quarterly gaps here, price ends up rejecting these levels, comes back down, and then you take out this low here, price fails to reaccept like into like this kind of this empty space here, and then you get your traversal lower into your monthly value area low, and then you kind of just want to long here, and then go for the next leg higher. I think I think you got like you got a fucking huge range here as well. Honestly, like, obviously, we're not going to go that far low, and we're not going to go down to like the 170 area, in my opinion. Like this, we don't go and fill these imbalances unless Bitcoin goes to 83K or like 80 something K, which I don't think is going to happen. It's like, yeah, something here like 180s, 180s, 190s looks pretty good on Solana. And again, like it's that thing I was kind of saying where you've already tagged into the empty view app space here. So like if you end up losing 200, it should be a very quick leg down to 188. You got like that prior volume here as well. Uh, I think width is something that I'm kind of eyeing up on because, again, like with width, it's one of those coins where this cycle you've kind of expected to go to like $10, $15, right? Like you kind of
Hmm.
expect it to do pretty well. But like I had the level here that I bought at liquidation candle, right? It was like a deviation of your be back into like your old range high here. But again, like you went back into range, rejected monthly level, and I'm pretty sure there's like some sort of value area low here that rejected, and now it's just low bleeding. I wouldn't be surprised to see this go down to like 227 next, and then I guess if it goes below 227, your next level will probably be like the anchored view app, so like 160-ish. I think one second, you got like overlapping range here as well. Yeah, about like 160 to 170-ish. You'd think it finds support in this region here. If it ends up losing 240, sorry, 230. I'm kind of surprised that it's been so weak though. Yeah. Are you still buying altcoins? Or are you just trading puffs?
Mostly trading perps right now. I'm focused on the Hyperliquid ecosystem, mostly because I just got a fat Hyperliquid airdrop, and I think there's more money coming into the Hyperliquid chain. So my main focus right now is just kind of like DCAing into some of the spot tokens there. I shamefully to admit I haven't explored much of their Telegram bot, the Hyper Fund bot, but that's where all the newly listed coins get through their auction. Are you familiar with their auction process, how it works?
No, I know nothing about them.
Um,
That's
basically,
that's on my list of, yeah, go on.
yeah, from my understanding of it is just we got some FOMC volatility right now. Shit's moving. I'm all out of that short. But my understanding is that the auction, like the listing price doubles every time a new coin, a new spot token gets listed on Hyperliquid, and the current price is I think like 900K right now for a spot listing. Um, and so there's a scarcity aspect to it there alone. But just buy all the Hyperliquid coins. That's what I'm doing. Not necessarily the perps,
Yeah.
but throwing a little bit in each day, like buying at range lows and deviations and things like that. Um, I'm not super like I'm not heavily focused on it. I'm not locked in. I'm not locked in on that. I'm not very systematic in my approach to that. It's more so like a general idea of I want exposure to the Hyperliquid ecosystem. Let me spread risk across all the different spot tokens because of that scarcity aspect in the auction because I think there's more money coming into the chain. But I think alts like I don't think there's as much edge to be found in the trenches as there was when the trenches first were being dug out. I think now
Uh,
putting majors and seeing how we've seen the returns on the Dino coins when there's been some more mainstream media attention on crypto as of lately, the XLM run, the XRP run, things like that. Buying like the quote unquote blue chip meme coins, Pepe, WIF, Doge. I think that might be the narrative as we go into the later stage of the cycle, considering that like where are the excess buyers? Where are the final people to come into the cycle? I mean, we've been trading this. It's been like a year since we've been going through all the ETF announcements and rumors and run up in Bitcoin. It's like we're at the end of the cycle. I think who is going to be the final participants to step in? Is it going to be institutions in a large way with ETF adoption and things like that? We haven't really seen that thus far. We've just seen price action kind of change, volatility get a bit
uh,
muted. So I think
I
there's
did about
go for it, go for it.
push. They changed their forecast. So Yeah, the forecast for the rates, they increased it. So not as many
Interesting.
rate cuts next year.
Interesting.
Right now they did 25. They did 25 as expected, but yeah, previously they were saying 3.375 for next year. Now it's 3.875.
Yeah, we're kind of just like screaming back and forth in this, like around VWAP right now. We're just whipping back and forth. And so I think I think if we settle out near the value area high, the breakout trade on Bitcoin is good today. But in terms of projecting the intermediate to long-term price action based off of the dot plot or the Fed's forecast, I can't do that shit. I'm not sure there's many people who can. There probably are some,
Wait,
but I
say again.
can't. It's like I can't forecast based off the Fed dot plot and the rate projections. I'm sure there are
Oh,
people who
oh
can.
no,
I
no.
don't try to.
I think I think with that, right, what I just do is like I remember like back in the previous cycle, I made a lot of money doing this. It was like with the macro news, I was like, yo, like I think it was like here or some shit. Yeah, it was around like here. They announced the whole rate cut narrative, right?
Mhm.
I think it was like they're going to start doing the rate hikes, right? They're going to start rate hiking. I think in May
Mhm.
5th, and then again, like that was like literally that bloody candle here, right? And then from there, we just ended up dumping and then just staying range bound until we had that UBS crisis. I think the UBS crisis was like here. So it was like, I don't know, with macro news, you don't have to look into it too much, or you just have to understand is like, it just changes your high time frame basis, right?
Mhm.
Where if they're going to start rate hiking, just hold bearish mindsets on whatnot, and then just flip it, yeah. But
I agree. Yeah.
yeah, with news, like I don't know, with news, you can kind of see it in the chart though, anyway as well. You don't have to look
Yeah. It's the
too much
idea of
into
like
it.
everything's priced in. You'll get a reaction and volatility based off the flow that comes in just because there is a catalyst at a certain date and time. But in terms of actually moving the market in the expected direction, eh, I don't know.
I think something I think something I'm looking out for. I mean, I've been a big kind of shill Tau, right? But I mean, you kind of started forming a range here. I'm kind of thinking of how you take out the wick liquidity here, right? So let's say the wick liquidity is approximately 0.5. So yeah, about like 4.92 to about basically just to just mitigate this wick here, right? And I think you got equal lows here in daily, so I'm thinking tau goes significantly lower as well. The thing I didn't like as well was that during that liquidation spike, it was just on Binance, I think, but on that liquidation spike, you kind of front ran um, the anchored VWAP value area low. So again, if this ends up, going into that anchored VWAP here, it's gonna hold, either end up taking out some of this liquidity here, or it just takes out the low and then continues higher, I'd say. And then from there, you just literally look for this wick to get taken out about like the 1K level, and then above that, you look for like your fib extensions. But yeah, bro, honestly, add Talon to like your altcoin bags because
Yeah,
it's a decent AI project for
I
me.
like that.
Tensor.
Okay, I see your watch list right there. You obviously have a ton of different shit on it, but do you screen for any types of setups? Like, do you filter on a Ryan terminal or something of the like for open interest changes relative or volume changes? Like, is there a way that you kind of filter through the altcoin market for specific setups?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I sure. I mean, I've got a few other terminals, but I need to pull them out. At the minute, I'm just using the spaghetti chart. So again, this watch list here has been fest, right? I've got like five different like tickers for five different charts for each ticker. I need to change that, but I've just been spamming spaghetti charts lately and RSI screeners. So like if a coin, for example, relative to Bitcoin is like super low RSI, for me that kind of piques my interest because it's like if it's over versus Bitcoin, it's bound to go up sooner, right?
Hmm.
But that's kind of like how I look at it. What about you?
Honestly, dude, I don't trade altcoins as like I don't have a system. I don't have a systematic way of approaching altcoins, and so people like S and Shinny's Discord have been shitting on me for it. I will admit my fault there. But I look at like I have a small basket of alts that I look at like Pepe Whiff, Popcat I traded for a while. Popcat I got rinsed on for a while in full transparency. And I just looked at higher time frame volume profiles on those, just like daily volume profiles and price action around them, creating composites and stuff. It was a very like brush over it way of looking at it, but the spaghetti chart, like trading relative momentum on spaghetti is something that I do want to learn more about.
I mean, honestly, there's not really much to learn about. It's like the thing I was saying with the R Bitcoin. With these, you kind of just look at what's underperforming, what's outperforming, and you kind of look for like scalps on the ones that are outperforming, right? And then
Yeah.
you just monitor the ones that are underperforming for later days and whatnot. It's kind of like it's like oh, wait 1 second. Let me just look at PopCap for a second because I was kind of thinking 1 second. If this is something that I don't want to miss out on as well, because like a lot of these meme are going to get absolutely shit on for a while. Oh, that's really fucking nice. That's actually that's nice.
Mhm.
That's actually lovely. You've got like a massive empty space here between like your previous quarterly and your current quarterly, right? So that space should get like filled very quickly.
Mhm.
Let me look at the monthly. Yeah, that's lovely, bro. Holy fuck.
That does look good.
Yeah, you got like your yearly view up here as well. Honestly, if this ends up dumping down right to like 74 cents, it's a good buy. You've also got like your yeah. There's actually nothing more to look at to be honest. Just
Yeah.
eyeball it. Yeah, you've got like pretty nice
There's your
the
range.
value
Yeah.
gap here.
There's
It's
your
not.
prior range. Sweep that internal consolidation, that low. And if you do find support there and start to lift, yeah, I'd lift that offer for sure.
Yeah, it's a pretty good retest that yearly view up as well. It's pretty should
I
be
like
pretty solid
that. Yeah,
bounce.
yeah. A lot
I
of
think
confidence right there.
I think it reminds me of like how ETH did back. I think this was like back in August. Like you got like your you had like massive space in between your yearly and previous yearly value, right? So then like as soon as this dumped below 2.8, right? It ended up dumping all the way down into prior value, which was like let's say probably about here. I mean that's pretty disgusting to chart. Yeah, but prior value here, and then ends up taking out those equal lows there, and then holds that low, and then comes back up again.
Mhm.
But yeah, so the similar thing is like when you have like high time frame view apps, like your yearly and your month that have big expansive spaces, because these imbalances tend to get filled very quickly. So with Podcat, this should just shit the bed.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
honestly,
think
there
I
might
think
even
the
be a
massive
low time frame breakout play, like selling it because there's a little POI in that consolidation, selling on a yeah, I know you already had it. Clear the low, lift back up into the range, and then yep,
uh,
it looks like it'll
I think on a
shell.
low time frame of this, on a low time frame of this, right, you could get bearish mitigation into like your weekly view app here, right?
Mm.
So like, let's say Bitcoin does push higher, right? Actually, no, to be honest, like you might not even get that.
I think that would be a change in the
Honestly,
environment if you do come in and clear those highs.
yeah, so I was kind of thinking maybe it takes out that high into view up here, and then you could either find a long continuation back up to the previous weekly view up range here, like 1.1 area. But then again, it's like if you end up like, doing bearish mitigation here, it's just going to be straight send lower. But uh, this is also like literally what you're saying about like not like forming too many biases before FOMC, because like I would not have expected Fed to change the interest rate decisions like that.
Yeah, and
That's bad.
I don't think the market was expecting it much either, because you see an initial sell off, like it was a swift sell downwards. We're still holding the range right now. Um, but that could change very quickly. But as of now, we're still reverting back in the range. So it seems like we're waiting for the press conference, and then this
Uh,
is a very up or down situation right here.
I think
Oh, weird. What's going
I
on with
think
XO?
Finn's right though. I think Finn was talking about it in chat before. Wait, what you mean by EXO? Bro, I don't
Oh
know.
yeah.
It's been bugging out lately.
Weird. Yeah, what was Finn saying?
Fucking. I think Finn was also talking about this as well. Like the whole like if we do accept above day value area high, we should just keep popping up pretty high. But
Mhm.
I mean. Yeah, at the minute we're yeah, that's terrible here. That's a terrible reaction here. If that low gets swept in the fields, I'd be keen to see a retest of that weekly value, right? And then back higher. But if these lows break, it's gonna be another flush down to like 101K.
Yeah.
And then that whole liquidation cycle that we are talking about kind of pops into mind as well because you had like your week breakout here where you had huge amounts of volume, right?
Mhm.
And if the buyers here out of pocket, it's going to be a quick spike down if it doesn't hold.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yeah, I just think like the
uh,
the
it-
risk of the risk of a flush increases the lower that we move. I think that's something that's obvious to say, but like if we start to accept and trade below the current lows right now, like there's also positioning that's been built up today. Um, and coming into FOMC, I just think following a higher time frame breakout that we've had, I don't want to underestimate the volatility we could see in the downside if we do start to trade into that range.
uh, I think I'm just going to stick to looking at altcoins though, because there's not a lot of edge on me. It's just literally a waiting game.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
I think the other
There's
thing I
actually
was
money
looking
being
at
put to
was
work.
I'm just trying to plan ahead for altcoins because one of my big spot picks are SEI, right? I've sold about 75% of my bag already for close to a 2x. I ended up buying around about here, like
There you
quarterly
go.
yearly level, sold some around here, sold some around here, right? And I want to pick some more up. I was talking about this yesterday as well, but Dream. With SEI again, like it's kind of suffering here, right? Like deviating outside like daily that daily order block there. The thing that I like about like the current market is like you in about 2 weeks you're gonna have like a previous quarterly bracket. And the beautiful thing about this is that like we've been ranging in this like upper end of the bracket, right? So like again, I doubt it, right? It really depends if Bitcoin just pops off right now, like in the next few days, right? But like if Bitcoin doesn't pop off, right, I think this is going to end up expanding below into this lower range here, and then from there it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot less clean because then you've got this range here to play with, right? Breaks out about here.
I don't know, man. I think right now on SEI from this look here, it looks like we're just we had the initial reaction off of the lower balance area and we're trading back towards it. So SEI, not on me. Oh,
I should do
yeah, no,
that.
you're
SEI.
good. No, yeah, but this I think I think we're gonna clear that low and bleed back down into the range, and I think it'll get choppier as we do trade through that range. But I think that that statement also expresses a sentiment to the entire altcoin market, and that if SEI, if something like SEI that has outperformed lately makes that kind of move, then it's a bearish implication across a lot of alts. And so, to what you're saying is, if Bitcoin does have some swifter move down, um, how much are alts gonna go down is the question. And so SEI, I don't
I
know.
think here, right?
Things that are looking to accept into prior balance areas, I think that likelihood is is higher than a continued trend.
I think the key thing here to look at as well is Bitcoin dominance because like Bitcoin dominance ends up like it was around about like the start of January here where it dumped, right? And that kind of gave the breathing room for like alts to do 10x, right?
Mhm.
With this, it's kind of funny because like here we went back into the range here, rejected the low area of the range, came back down, rejected the high of that old range here, and then it's like you had like your yearly VWAP range as well, and it's like we ended up like deviation of VWAP here, and then now we're at a range value area high here, right? So if this ends up spiking a little bit above and then SFPing the high, we're safe because then again we'll end up dumping like kind of that, and then we'll end up seeing like 47%, and then eventually 45%, and then we'll be range bound between here, and then I don't know, like sometime in like early summer next year, we'll end up seeing a crash and Bitcoin dominance spiking back up again, right?
Mhm.
But like I think if this ends up,